Hi, I'm Daniel Madison. Welcome back to the Madhouse. The Professor and I truly appreciate you choosing to spend a bit more time with us today. So, this is a little bit of a sneak peek as to what's happening in this room, but more about that in the not so distant future. Let's go find Charlie. Yo, Charlie, deck 1 in the Champion Deck series from my good friend Dan Williams. I spoke about these and I used these in my last video. These are now officially a success on Kickstarter, and yeah, congratulations to Dan. I knew that these would do well, and to everybody who picked them up and backed Dan with his dream deck of playing cards, thanks. It got me thinking a lot about Kickstarter. So many decks of playing cards find their beginning and find their big break on Kickstarter. There's a few things that I want to show you in today's video, but mainly I want to sit down and offer some guidance and advice on how you can also have a successful deck of playing cards, a successful Kickstarter campaign. Now, it's probably not going to be the easiest thing to show you in this kind of light. It's daytime, there's a lot of daylight coming through, so I will come back at nighttime and show you this, but for now, check this out. So I installed neon lights to run all the way down the Madhouse studio, all the way from the top to the bottom on both sides, and they change color too, which is wild, and it's all just controlled from this thing. I'm really fascinated by this because they've got Madison Pink too, what I'm calling Madison Pink. That's gonna look so good in photo shoots and projects that I've got planned, especially at nighttime. These are the brand new Madison close-up practice pads, practice surfaces, whatever you want to call them. The Madison Deceptive Surface. These are a long time coming, and I can't tell you how happy I am and how proud I am of how these have turned out. So first of all, Dave Prop Dog is arguably the best magic shop ever. I'll leave a link to their shop in the video description. I reached out to Dave to make me some of these, and I wasn't really expecting anything. I knew they'd be good, but I was shocked at how good these turned out. These are perfect. Don't take my word for it. Pick some up, pick one up, get one yourself. There's a link in this video description. These are available right now from Prop Dog. I'll turn it around so you can see it. And before we get into the playing cards, I want to talk a little bit about these and what led me to find this perfect close-up surface. If you're familiar with my channel, and if you're used to me, then you've seen me talk about close-up surfaces and tables probably more than I should, but it's very important, and I'll keep saying that. It's very important, the surface that you choose to practice on. The card tables that I've made, the Devil's Tongue, the pink one over there that just looks like a big tongue, they turned out a bit too soft. They're a bit too comfortable. They're alright for photography and little bits and bats here and there, but for practice I really wouldn't recommend something that soft. The black one, however, turned out really well, but the most ideal surface is somewhere between a hardwood surface and a fabric that has the most minimal sponge. What do you call that word, Charlie? Sponge? Charlie, there's no need for that. So what led me to this, I've made a few videos talking about close-up cards, and I was really excited when I got sent this from Art of Play, Dan and Dave. I'll leave a link to this in the video description. This is perfect. I love it. It looks incredible on my desk, and it's perfect to work with, and when I got it, it took over all of my other practice surfaces. This one is also from Dan and Dave. This is, I'm not sure if this is called a shuffle pad, but it's the same size. I think it's 16 inch. I think it's the same size as a 16-inch MacBook Pro, just for reference. These ones are bigger. These are much bigger now. If you've watched a lot of my videos, you will have seen this many times. The amount of times I've fallen out with this green surface and not been happy with this green surface. Mainly because in front of me right now, apart from a few bits of magic dust, it looks good, it looks clean. As soon as you point a camera at it, all these little flecks and bits of magic lint turn up and just, for some reason they show up really drastically, and it just looks filthy on camera. This is brilliant for rolling up, throwing in your bag, and taking it with you wherever you go. And that green color really does lend itself to the playing card world. It's the same color as a pool table, as a lot of card tables out there. The deck of playing cards that I choose to use on a daily basis always will have an expressional element to it. I'm not really into fashion. I'm not a fashion icon. I like to keep my style very minimal, very clean, very simple. Usually black, sometimes white. Many times in the Madhouse, pink. I love my own merch. But the outfit that I've got on today, white t-shirt, black jacket, goes perfectly with the Black Advocates. It's a way of expressing ourselves. We all do it as magicians. Why do you think there are so many playing cards that exist? It is an expression. One day I might feel like I'm in the mood to use a champion deck of playing cards. The next day I want to use some black Madison Advocates. And I feel the same way now about my close-up surface. Now, I've really spoiled myself, and I'm blessed to have to be spoiled for choice with close-up surfaces. I've got the green. The green doesn't really lend itself to too many things that I like to present on film. I'm very aware of my visuals always, especially when I'm presenting things on film. And this close-up surface now just gives me another way to express myself, because it's 100% Madison. A couple of years ago, I tried to achieve this very close-up. I tried to arrive at what this has turned out to be by making these. These were the Madisonist roll-ups. We call them the roll-ups because they're so thin, and you can just roll them up in any way you want. And look how small that is. It fits perfectly. I don't know, maybe it fits in your pocket. Let's find out. It fits perfectly in your pocket. Nobody knows it's there. You can present it as a magic trick when no one's looking. Ta-da! But all jokes aside, this was perfect for carrying around, and like I used to do a lot of traveling, and this worked out perfectly for me. The problems with this, by the way, Jordan Murphy and I teamed up for this, JM Authentics, and I'm really proud of this. I always have been, and I love the way it looks. I love that kind of crushed velvet look, but it came with problems. One, it was a bit too thin for what I was looking for, so it felt like you were shuffling playing cards on a hard surface, which isn't a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing, because if we learn to shuffle a deck of playing cards on the very hard surface, then we'll be able to achieve our deceptions at a real card table. Because if you feel a real card table, they're hard like this with just a bit of fabric on top. So for that reason, this probably is the best close-up surface you can get for that theory, for that way of thinking. There was a slight problem with the crushed velvet, because when you stroke one way, it's really soft and nice and it feels great for shuffling. When you go the other way, you get this kind of resistance that this is so petty. I mean, that's a really petty thing, but still, I think about stuff like this a lot, and it's important for the dexterous skills that you need to achieve a lot of sleight on the deck of playing cards. So this was great while it lasted, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. What was this? So that's why I kept coming back to the old faithful Ronco. Is that how you pronounce it, Charlie? Ronco. The Ronco green roll-up surface. I'll leave you a link to everything in this video. You can get these. I do highly recommend these for the way that they feel. Just aesthetically, visually, I wanted something more like this. So that's why I ended up with one of these. Dave and his team at Prop Dog, congratulations, well done. This is the best close-up surface I've ever felt. It really is. I'm going to say that because it's mine, but I'm not just saying that because it's mine. I'm saying it because it really is. This material that's been used, I'm not going to say what it is because I know that's a Prop Dog secret, but the material that's used for this surface it's never been used before. This is the first time you'll ever feel anything like this, and it is, I can't speak highly enough of it. It's perfect. There's just enough push to get under that deck of playing cards when you're shuffling, but it's not too soft, and it feels great. It's just a really nice fabric. Yeah, I guess I'll stop talking about this now because I could talk forever about these. These are available right now. Link in video description. Many thanks to Prop Dog, to Dave and your team. Thank you. So these were especially made for the Madhouse. Now I've got Dave very kindly sent me 10 of these. I'm going to use quite a few of them in the Madhouse. I've got quite a few tables to put these on, and the lessons and the teaching and the training that I'm going to do in-house, people are going to need to use these when they get here. But I can't afford with this amount to do a bit of a giveaway. So we'll talk about that in a different video. But for now, I'm not sure how many have been made. I know there's not that many, so if you want to avoid disappointment, if you want to get one of these, go quick and don't waste any time, because they might be all gone, and I'm sorry if they already have at the point of you watching this video. Charlie, should we talk about Kickstarter a little bit? I think that's a good idea. Like, it's something that I've never done. I've been an advisor, a guide, a consultant to magicians for the last 20 years, for TV shows, for magic companies, for casinos, and one of the biggest requests and one of the biggest things I get involved in is the design and the marketing of playing cards. It's the thing that I've done the most and the thing that I've been involved in the most throughout my career. And I've worked on almost 200 decks of playing cards. 100 of those decks of playing cards have my name on them. And I'm not saying this is kind of a boasting thing or showing off. I'm just kind of saying, you know, I'm qualified. I think I know what I'm talking about. And the successes that I've been involved in, I think that's enough to say, yeah, I'm qualified to give a little bit of advice. So many of the playing cards that I've worked on and helped with have been successful Kickstarter campaigns, and I usually save this guidance and this advice for the individual, for the artist who will come to me for that reason. So I've never really put these ideas on film before, and you can apply the same way of thinking to just the creation of a deck of playing cards in general, not just for Kickstarter. You can learn so much from just looking at Kickstarter campaigns and looking which ones were successful, and then studying that deck and studying that person and studying the audience to find out, you know, what made a success. You can do the same with failures. Look at there are so many decks of playing cards that have been complete failures on Kickstarter, and I think it comes from a place of printing playing cards is relatively easy. Anybody can do it now. And because of that, most people thinking, oh, I want my own deck, I want my name on the deck, so I'll go and print one and then try and sell it. And it doesn't always work. We're not all kind of blessed enough or fortunate enough to be in positions to make a deck of playing cards work, and that's the hardest thing, is get into a position where you have an audience or you have a potential audience. The most ideal way, the way of doing it properly, the one way that's always been successful that I've known of, isn't going to be ideal and isn't going to really work for everybody, because everybody wants overnight success. Nobody wants to put in the time. But I made sure that my success or my recognition and my reputation had been recognized before I started producing playing cards. So I made sure the reputation was there first. First and most importantly, people don't come and watch magicians because they want to see what playing cards they're using. It doesn't work like that. So you can't do it backwards. You can't get a deck of playing cards and have people go, oh wow, I'm going to turn up to see this deck of playing cards. They want to turn up for the entertainment. They want to turn up for the spectacle. And then the playing cards are just the tool. That's what the magician uses. So if you can shift that attention from the playing cards to the drive behind it, to the impetus, to the artist that stands behind the playing cards, then you're off to a really, really good start. If you look at actors or famous artists or bands, you know, the fans, they get tattoos of their favorite band on their arm. I've done it, you know, and people want to use the things that they love and the things that they fall in love with. They want to use them as kind of like conduits for expression. They want to express themselves and show people who they are through their interests. So they say, oh yeah, I'm the kind of person who likes this band. Then other people out there can relate to them, because they're going to go, oh yeah, I like that band too. That must mean we've got something in common. We're friends. There's a bit of a connection. We tie that same thing into playing cards. There needs to be something like that. There needs to be a life inside a deck of playing cards. It can't ever just be a deck of playing cards for the sake of being a deck of playing cards. You might think, oh, I've got a beautiful design for a deck of playing cards, let's put it out, and then cry when it doesn't sell. It's not about just making a beautiful deck of playing cards. I've seen some amazing, incredible, fantastic decks of playing cards become huge successes. What? Oh my god. Huge sucking failures. I think that's what I was trying to say, Charlie. Huge suckers, huge failures. When really, when you look at them from a design point of view, you think that should have been a success. This is where studying and learning and like diving in and trying to get far down that rabbit hole, sorry Charlie, as you can, because that's where you're going to learn everything you need to know. People do not want to invest their time in something that you think is beautiful and something that you have put a lot of time into. It needs to have a connection to the audience. It needs to have a personal connection. Now, I can give you a good example of when we last did this. The Remedies, I use normal deck. Oh yeah, Remedies by Daniel Schneider and I. Daniel and I had been talking about doing a collaboration for the longest time, and we just didn't want to rush into something and just create a design for the sake of it. It had to be organic, and in the end it really was. Like I think it was about 3 or 4 years it took, because we didn't force it, we just let it happen. And in the end we decided that our collaboration should not be about me and Daniel. It should come from us, and it should be somewhere between what's in our spirit, I guess, and what's the essence of Daniel and the essence of myself, and put it together and try and find something. But we also decided that we wanted a deck of playing cards that, first of all, people could take and make it their own, and people could find their own associations with. That's why we ended up with the feather is directly from Charlie. The feather is a resemblance of, it represents freedom, you know, flying. It represents freedom, but also creative freedom, because it doubles up as a quill. So it's the penmanship, the writing. The rose, there's nothing more symbolic of romance than a rose, I don't think. And I've spoken about this before many times, but with this we made a deck that people could get and attach their own feelings to it and their own meaning, and that's kind of why we left it blank with the icon design, because we didn't want to overface people. We just wanted to say, look, this is a deck about creative freedom. It's about romantic ideas with deception, with magic, and most of all, it's yours. Like, you make it yours. But I guess this isn't a good deck to use as an example, because both Daniel and I, we both had a relative amount of success before we started that deck. Like, we didn't start from nowhere. It's very different when you're starting from nowhere, and you can't just start with a deck of playing cards. I guess that's the one bit of advice I'm trying to get across in this video. There needs to be something that people will invest in, something that people are going to want to invest, not just their money. It's not even about money. When you see something that you like and you really like, you don't really see the price. You just see the fact that you want it, and you have this relationship where you need to bring that into your life by any means necessary and cost. And to try and create that is not something that you can pretend to do. You can't fake it. It has to be real. So the best advice from that point of view is to have your audience fall in love, or invite them to be entertained with the spectacle that stands behind the deck of playing cards. And in most cases with the deck of playing cards, it's going to be the artist. It's going to be the person presenting the playing cards, or what the playing cards stand for, or why they were created. Now, don't think because you're passionate about buses, you can make a deck of playing cards about buses and it's going to sell well. That's not how it works. The way that I did this, I had an audience who were already invested in me as a personality, as an artist, a sleight of hand artist, as a deception artist, as a magician, and then came the playing cards. And all of a sudden it was like that when I was trying to make the point about musicians. You will buy merch from your favorite band. You will buy the posters and put them on your wall. You will buy physical pieces from that band that you can own, because you want to feel like you almost want to feel like you want to own a little piece of that band, a little piece of what you're so in love with. And playing cards as artists allow us to do the same thing. I can now offer people a piece of myself with this deck of playing cards, and I say that from my heart, and it really does. These playing cards, I don't just make playing cards so that I can sell them. I make playing cards so that I can express myself fully with my own creation, whilst at the same time, if you feel the same way that I do, the way that I feel about my playing cards, they're available for you too, so that you can have them too. You can express yourself in the same way that I'm promoting, that I'm trying to lead by example and offer a good way of practice and a good message for magic. So all of that goes into my playing cards. That's why, for the same reason with the Remedies, we didn't over overkill the deck with loads of design. We just kept it simple. And if you've got an audience already, and if you've got a good spirit to start from, you don't have to have the most intimate, the most intricate design. It can be something that's really simple, that just represents who you are, which is another very important point. I'm a very, very minimal person. I like things to be just straight to the point, minimal. I always wear just black or white, and every design I'm ever involved in, I try and keep minimal. Beauty can be found in two different places. One, in intricate designs. Two, in minimal designs. And anywhere in between, you start to lose beauty. And the hardest thing to do is create and find beauty in something minimal. That's why I went to this. That's why I just stuck with the logo. I already found what represents me the most, which is my logo, which is my symbol. Then I just used that in the playing cards to create a deck of playing cards that would allow me to express myself in the way that best represents who I am and what I do. Now, this is a huge conversation for another time, but way back when I first got into magic by accident, I looked around and I recognized David Blaine, and I saw his symbol. He had the split spade upside down spade symbol, which also doubles up as a DP, and that fascinated me, and it made me realize I don't have that, and that made me instantly start working on something that could represent me just in one image, not even a word, but just one image, and that was my first ever logo. If you're an artist, if you're a similar kind of person to me, and you've got something that you want to represent, and you've got an art that you like to present, you have to find a way to encapsulate all of that in the most minimal and simple way, and that usually is with a logo, with a brand logo, a company logo, if you will. Although in my case, it's not. It has become a company logo, but it's not. It's me. Like, the logo is me, and when people see it and they recognize it, they see that that's Madison. If you can get to that point with your own brand and your own creations and your own offerings, then you're in a position to take that energy and take that audience and take that attention and put it into a deck of playing cards. There's so much more to talk about. I could talk for hours and hours, and usually when it's a consultation or a job or I'm offering help and guidance, it wouldn't be just an hour's talk. It would be weeks upon weeks of these kind of conversations and investing time and energy into what makes this artist choose this design, and how can he change it, and what can he do different. And these are just a few examples that I got out, and I ended up not even talking about them. My friend Bill Davis, you've probably seen me using these playing cards. These are the Wild Boar, these are the Wild Reserve Wild Boar playing cards, and he took everything pretty much that I've just said, that same direction, and put it into this deck, and this became a very successful Kickstarter campaign. Bill was relatively new, so not many people knew who he was, but when it came to this deck, and when you check this out on Kickstarter, this wasn't just about him having a deck of playing cards. It was about something that he was very, very passionate about in his veganism and in his saving the animals. So it was more than just a deck of playing cards. The Speaks awareness, the Speaks playing cards from my friends, my very good friends, Jordan and Dane. Again, more than just a deck of playing cards. It's not just about having a deck of playing cards. This deck of playing cards was for autism awareness. Now, that's a very close subject to me, and I was passionate about this deck, and they were passionate about this deck, because it wasn't just about a deck of playing cards. It was about something special. It was about autism awareness, just like Bill's deck with the animals. On the back of Bill's deck, on the back of the attention and the audience that he found and the respect that he gained from doing this deck, he found himself in a position to then start doing more and more decks. So he's got more decks on the way. There's more decks on Kickstarter. So have Dane and Jordan, but their career started by looking for advice and by studying it. And I think that one of the secrets that you can find in all these decks of playing cards, they're more than just a deck of playing cards. Now, I'm going to stop giving advice and talking at this point, because I really could talk for hours upon hours. We'll do a second edition. We'll do a follow-up to this video talking about more information about playing card design and playing card marketing. But you have to let me know if that's something that you want to watch in the comments, because I feel like I've just been sat here talking nonsense to my camera or to Charlie, sorry, no offense, for the past hour, and I'm not sure if it's what you want to hear or not, but I'm happy if this helps somebody, if anything that I've said in this video helps somebody. If you have questions, if you have very specific questions, put them in the comments. I'm trying my best to get to the comments. Getting all of the advocates out of the door has been chaotic. It's still going on now, and it's madness, but I love it, I really do. And the close-up, the new Madison close-up surfaces, these aren't from the Madhouse, they're not from me, these are from Prop Dog, and I'll leave a link to the video, leave a link in the video description. I'll leave a link in the video description. I'm Daniel Madison. I'll see you next time.